I know in the last video that I said we were going to dive into multi-dimensional arrays, but I remembered that I wanted to cover parallel arrays first. So what I did here is I created 3 arrays. Pretty straightforward. They each only have 4 elements in them. One array I called names, another array I called ages, and another array I called DOM for day of month. Okay, that was the day of a particular month in which they were born, I guess. I couldn't think of anything else to use. So there we are. Or I could just say what they own for, how many cats do they own. There we go. We'll do that. Cats. OWNED. Alright, so that's the number of cats owned by these various people. And it seems like actually Harry would own the 7 cats, huh? But let's go ahead and let's begin first of all by iterating through some of these arrays. And what I'm going to use is I'm going to use an index instead of just using for such and such in such and such. There are a couple of ways of doing this, but we'll start with the index way first. Alright, so I have 4 I in range, and I have 4 elements, right? So I'm going to say 4, put in my semi or my full colon, hit enter, and I'll say print, like so. Open parenthesis, and let's make it easy on ourselves, and let's just begin by simply typing in names sub I, and let's just at least make sure that that works, right? Run it. And sure enough, Dave, Tom, Dick, Harry. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some text to it and make sure that that works. Put in a space is blank, right? AGES sub I plus quote OLD. Let's try that out, see how that works out. Okay, looks like we're going to be okay, so we'll hit the play button and we got a crash right off the bat. So it's what's it telling us about this? Can't convert int object to string implicitly. Well, that's definitely a newbie error, huh? Which lets you guys know that we all make that mistake. Alright, so print names, we need to make sure that this also is a string, right? See if that'll work. There we go. Dave is 29. Okay, so we had a little trouble with our talking, right? So we'll do that. Dave is 29 years old and has plus str again, and now it's going to be cats owned. So by that looks pretty good, I think. Hopefully I haven't made any big blunders in there. Cats. Don't have any red marks. Looks like this might fly. Alright. There we are. Dave is 29 years old and has 3 cats. Tom is 39 years old and has 4 cats. Dick is 49 years old and has 7 cats. Harry is 59 years old and has 2 cats, right? So of course we can add a little bit of logic to this if we wanted to. For example, if we had cats owned as 1, we might test to see if cats owned is less than 2. And if it is, then we would replace this with singular cat. Something to think about. I'm not going to tell you how to do that because I think by now you guys should be able to reason out how to pull that off. Now, for the person that says, well, what about using enumeration to get through this? Why don't you show me how to do that, Dave? And they said, well, first of all, the enumeration method for parallel arrays isn't probably the best approach, but I'll show you how to do that, sure. We're going to begin, first of all, I is equal to 0, okay? Actually, I'll go num, or IDX. I'll use that. Index is equal to 0. And again, we're going to say for I'm going to say value, V-A-L-U-E, because I don't know what it's going to be, whether it's going to be, well, in this case it's going to be text or string, so I'll just go S. For S in names, so that's going to get us our names. Put in a colon, and I will grab a hold of, why did I put a string around names? Answer me that one, huh? Brilliant thinking there. I'm sure some of you guys caught that. Since it was a string already, why do that, right? So let's go ahead and we'll grab a hold of this, because I need it, and I'm just going to pop it in there. This works. And the reason that it works is because I is a 0, or index is a 0. So I need to go ahead and turn that to dx, and this one to dx, and this one to dx, right? So now they're all looking at the same value, and in the moment index is 0, so this will print the first element of those three arrays, right? Now I just simply go I dx, and let's see if it will allow me to do a plus plus. Is that available in Python? It's giving me an error, so it won't do that. So I'll just go plus equals 1, like so. And let's get a little space in there. All right, so there's that. And while I'm at it, I will go ahead and put a little print a line there, a new line kind of a deal, so I can get some space between them, and let's run it and see if it works. And there you have it. So we've done it in two different ways. Here we're managing the index directly by using the range command of Python to increment an index, and then we're just printing things out. In this case, we're actually using the names of our array. So here I had to use range 4. What happens though if I don't know how long my array is? Well, that's no big deal. All I have to do is right in this spot, replace it with length, len, of names, right? Let's see what that does. Works like a champ. Okay, so here I had a little bit of extra code that I had to write to make it so that this will work in all different lengths of the arrays. So if I end up with more names and more ages, etc., I'll be good to go, right? Down here I didn't have to do that at all. I didn't have to include length of names. The only thing I had to do was add that line of code there and remember to increment it later. So as far as the number of characters that I had to type, looks like it's real close to being about the same. So hopefully that makes sense. That's how parallel arrays work. Parallel arrays mean that we are going to use a single index value, whatever it is, IDX in this case, or I in this case, to link all of these arrays together. You will never input data on the arrays by themselves. As you input data, you will always collect their name, their age, and the number of cats owned. And then you will move on to the next individual, where you will collect their name, their age, and the cats owned. You will never set your program up so that it collects Dave, Tom, Dick, Harry, and then collects their ages, and then collects cats owned. The reason that we'll never do that is because there is too big of a chance that we might end up generating an error in our data. So by doing it this way, Dave, age, and the number of cats, will make sure that the data is preserved, and it'll also get us into the habit of preserving the parallel characteristic of our arrays. Hopefully that all makes sense to you guys.